Hello and welcome to the Wasteland Radio Show podcast. This is our first show, December 1st, 2020. WRSP was an underground 24/7 darkwave industrial EDM station, a music-driven radio talk show focused on the music scene. And then came COVID. Our world changed and so did we. In so changing, we decided to stay EDM but also focus on segments and shows centered more on learning and exploring the world around us, giving our subscribers a chance to be heard as much as our music is heard by them. So in line with that new philosophy, our programming will reflect a more subscriber-driven content. We here at WRSP The Wasp thank all of you for tuning in, so wherever you are, here's your shout, Auru. Now, one of our first subscribers, a man named Charles Nemec. Charles, I know you're out there watching. He messaged me with something that I felt we should all hear. Not only did it express my own personal feelings, but I think once you've heard it, it will express your feelings as well. And so here we go. I thought of it one night, wondering how to get people to come together instead of being separated by political parties. Our union as one monolithic voice is our strength. A nation divided will not stand. I asked God for an idea and a way to make something happen greater than ourselves, but is a living force when we are one. The Bikers of America are our strength in many ways, the last class that breathes freedom into the wind. And we live to be free, and it's probably the only ones that I know as family and will listen to me as I have no great achievements. Non-judgmental, like family everywhere we go, we do not greet with the hand gesture because we all ride. It is because we all ride free. I will say something like this. I am not a speaker as I have no experience. I have an idea that I believe will work. I'm just an ordinary guy with a simple idea. I have no great achievements or honors bestowed upon me. I am just like everyone else, a simple man who loves his country. But the goal is, wake the sleeping giant. As in World War II, when Pearl Harbor was bombed, the people rose up together with one voice and stopped the progression of the Imperial Japanese conquest. The strength and resolve the American people has always and always will be our greatest strength. Over the years, people have moved more and more into giving their strength to a few or even one man expecting change. What we are attempting to do is wake them up in their consciousness. In so doing, the people governed and the sole purpose for this nation hold all the power in their hands. We can no longer feel the oppression of the wealthy few, but in this endeavor take back that which is ours. Our nation of liberty was paid for with the blood of patriots and saints. We cannot let out the freedom slip away like a whisper in the darkness. The blood of liberty cannot dry up and blow away in the winds of shame. It is time for this great giant to wake and reaffirm our liberty, to reestablish the ideology of freedom spelled out in the Constitution. I have no experience at this, but I will do my best to speak well and to convey the heart of freedom and change. I'm going to be having this man on this show. We've already been discussing it. I believe that his voice will add credence to what we're doing here at this station and what we're trying to become. Now, to further that, we have to examine what is becoming. These new laws, these new restrictions that we're put under. Not only the masks that we're forced to wear, but the restrictions against travel. Pretty soon it'll be like Nazi Germany, where we have to have our papers to be able to go out. And in some places, unfortunately, like Australia, that's already the case. Their freedoms have already been eroded. Totalitarianism faces us. Now, I don't know where we're going to go with this, but I know that there are so many people that message me with similar ideology, with similar thinking. It's like Politicians will come and go, but America is forever. And that's what we're here for. We're here to examine what is America today. What is the American dream? What was the American dream? Obviously, the nuclear family of the 1950s has gone the way of the dodo. And when I look at what the American dream is today, it's nothing more than apartment dwelling. And I myself was involved with buying a condominium, which is nothing more than buying a apartment. You don't own the outside or any part of the land that it sits on. You only own the inside, which is not really owning anything at all. And I'm really glad we got out from under that contract. And now that I understand that system, I don't believe in that at all. I believe in free and clear land ownership, that when you buy your land, that's your land. And if you want to live in a shack turned into a house, that's your right to do so. If you want to live in a trailer house, that's your right to do so. If you want to live in a cardboard box, that's your right to do so. I don't think any entity, whether in the guise of public safety or otherwise, should come along and tell you what you have to do in that respect. But I also believe that home ownership or land ownership comes with it responsibilities, like having a septic system so as to not pollute the environment. That's just the modern way we do things. You don't have to have running water. I've lived in Alaska, 110 miles north of Anchorage, just outside of a place called Sunshine. You haul in your water, and when it freezes in the winter, that gets to be an issue. I've lived the freedoms that some will never enjoy. But isn't that the point? Ensuring that others have the chance, if they so desire, and not have that chance stripped away, not have that opportunity robbed from them. Aren't we allowed a civilization and a society where our children are not brainwashed? They are just given scientific and cultural and civil information to allow them to assimilate and cohesively become the new generation that will engender a new and better society. A slogan like, oh, never again. Let's try something new. But what is that new thing? If the Green New Deal doesn't work, if all of that technology it takes to get there robs more natural resources than we're already robbing from our environment, aren't we jumping from the frying pan into the fire? There must be alternative ways. When we first began the idea of this podcast, we questioned what would happen if people began to call or message and ask questions about UFOs or crop circles or some of those fantastic occult things. And occult, by the way, meaning hidden. And so it fell into my scope as a Gnostic. I love knowledge. I absorb knowledge like a sponge. So I looked at crop circles and I looked at some other things, but I didn't look at them the way I think most people did. I looked at it as if they are pictograms left by some society with a technology beyond our scope of imagination. What the hell are they trying to tell us? And when I talked to the people that examined the phenomenon, they were clear to point out that many of the crop circles resembled machines. And now there is a great segment of scientific society that is positing the idea that these are free energy devices which would cause us to not be dependent upon natural resources from this planet. We are spending so much time looking at off-world technology, space stations traveling to Mars, Elon Musk, the big heavy falcons. If you stay up with any of that technology, you will be amazed at where this is all going. You look at AI, you look at those things, and then here we are, poised at civil war. We are at each other's throats. One side Democrat, Antifa, BLM. The other side Republican, right wing, the Proud Boys. What about all of us in the middle? What about a Democrat who has conservative leanings? What about a Republican who has conservative leanings but isn't far right? These are you people. You're the people. You're the Democrats. You're the Republicans. Let's hear it from you. Let's hear what you have to say. Let this podcast be your platform for rational discussion. I won't put up with hate, speech, derogatory mannerisms, or speech. That's not what this is about. This is about uniting. And insofar, I'm going to give everyone their chance to speak. But I also want to point out that I'm a biker. Not just a motorcycle enthusiast, but a guy coming from the dark side of motorcycling. So I understand a few things about bikers and about Charles's dream, and I've been listening to Sos the Ghost at Demon's Row, and There's Your Shout. I've been listening to Hollywood James Macari over at Insane Throttle. There's Your Shout. I've been listening to Black Dragon over at Black Dragon TV. Black Dragon, here's your shout. One of these days I want to meet these men. And they are men with a voice and the courage. And I feel privileged to join them. And I feel privileged that you would be here to listen to us on this podcast. Thank you so much. I look forward to more podcasts here, uploading more material. Everyone have a good night. That's the way it is. December 1st, 2020.